Welcome back to TLG Talks final episode. It is episode 4, and unfortunately, of course, this was not our intention, but as circumstances have come up, I caught COVID, which effectively put me out of business for 3 to 4 weeks. So, yeah, we don't have enough time to basically continue making content. So the point of this episode is that it's not so much a podcast like the others have been. Even the last episode was kind of not up to par with the standard of episodes and episode length we've built up throughout time here at during the TLG Talks podcast, but it was simply just uh, victim to circumstances, and we have to make do with what time we have left. And so, of course, today is going to be kind of like a farewell podcast. As you can see, there's no one around me. It's just going to be me talking, and I'm going to use this as a moment to talk about the experience of TLG Talks and what I personally am going to probably be doing moving forward for UCLA Esports and just intentions for media in general. So first thing I want to say is regarding TLG Talks as a series, even though it's cut short, we still are going to have 5-ish episodes, if you include this one and the episode 0 of TLG Talks within the series. Of course, the episodes 0 through 2, so the first 3 in the series, were the proper length. They were two-parters. They were really well developed, and we put a lot of time into the recording practices, into the audio engineering, and all that kind of stuff. And I'm really proud of what me and my team, which has been mostly actually just me and Anna, going basically to just fulfill all of these different requirements for the series, such as the process of getting equipment, getting space, such as the training center, of which we've been trying to do almost every one of our series in, going through the lengths of setting up stuff, going through uh, pitching stuff up, and then having to take home all of the video products that we got, editing that, finding clips for our social media team. There was a huge project just involved in this whole series, and I'd like to thank actually the social media team as well for all the effort they've helped for putting in work into this project, as this is not just me in the slightest. Between the people working behind the scenes and my guests, I'm very thankful for everyone who was a part of this, and I think it was a wonderful experience, even though it was cut short due to unfortunate circumstances. Um, Going on to the interviewees, that was the big part of what TLG Talks. That's what I wanted TLG Talks to be about, was to be another outlet for viewers and for the Bruin Esports community to kind of see our players in a light that's not necessarily on stage. So it's not through the streams of them playing games. It's more so the in-person, the attitude, the behavioral, the more human aspects of them. And I think with the interviews between Richard and Patrick, the in-person event with the drafting, I think we actually got to show a lot of personality that these players don't really have any way to show, and I hope it's going to help like propel a lot more of a like connection between the community and the players in the esports, because that was one of my big objectives going into this. I wanted to really have a sense of community going through the series. I wanted to build up some sort of UCLA esports community, and so on that end, I think things went pretty well. We had a lot of good times. It was really nice for me to get to meet the players because I onboarded onto this project sometime in in February, and of course it's only the beginning of June now for the time of recording. So that's only like 4 months I've actually had, less than that probably, of working as part of UCLA Esports and trying to get the TLG Talks project going. So before that, I was just part of Bruin Broadcasting, which is kind of a outlet of UCLA Esports, but is not directly connected with the esports players or the staff and personnel necessarily directly. And I'm very grateful for my time there, and I'll be returning to that next year probably for doing extensive casting once more. But it's been a blast so far to be kind of part of this new thing with UCLA Esports and just getting my own content out there. Of course, it was not as much as I'd wanted to be, but that's why I'm going to be talking about what I'm thinking of doing next. So My intentions as a junior rising senior for UCLA is that I want to focus a lot more time next year, throughout the year, not just in the last quarter, which I think is very unfortunate because had I been able to start earlier, I feel like I would have been able to do much more and much higher quality material and just get a lot more content out there for your viewing pleasure. But hey, that's what next year's going to be for. So hoping my plans are hoping this summer to start just doing casual streaming with the UCLA Esports Twitch channel. I highly recommend you check it out. Don't miss any of our invitationals, any of our showdowns, our tournaments, or just friendly streamers on that channel. A great way to know what's up within our community is to follow it, and you'll see the biggest things going on for most part. Um, but following that idea, I'm intending on starting to do a bit more casual content on this esports streaming side. Uh, Particularly, I'm looking into maybe doing live viewing and or co-streaming of professional league matches. Maybe things such as streaming just normal league games, which is not too different from what people already do, but just to get more casual, more low-key, and kind of fun activities out there. And my intent is that hopefully it'll be a much easier thing for people to get into, and we won't have the scheduling nightmares that we've basically had to deal with as college students so far, because it's impossible to get a dozen kids or half a dozen kids to line up their schedules when they have finals, they have midterms, they have assignments, they have work, they have other responsibilities to attend to. It's not like we have a lot of time. We're not in middle school. We're not just getting driven around everywhere. We're the ones doing a lot of our own requirements and fulfilling our own needs. So I'm hoping that a lower stress, lower, easier to fulfill a style of content going forward will be a lot easier for people to drop by, like in the case of live viewing, co-streaming, just to drop by and to kind of just hang, to chill. And I feel like that would be a great improvement. I think it would be a great way to further the community, the sense of community, and just the interactions between fans and players. I think that would be a great step moving forward. Come spring, or come fall, sorry. I'm probably going to try to focus more so on the in-game, the player aspect of stuff. I know the intent is that, of course, this year and prior years, due to the COVID pandemic, have not been as tournament heavy as we would have liked. So, of course, I'm going to be trying to help out in that sense with specifically the league. I'm going to probably not do as much variety tournaments. I have done, like, for example, the previous Westwood tournament, which was a Valorant tournament. I'm going to try to stay just with League of Legends to try to make sure that that one topic stays my focus and that I can get as much content for that game as possible. So helping out on tournaments in that regard, I'm going to be looking forward to doing so, either as a host, as a caster, analyst, whatever. Just trying to get more opportunities for our community to be seen, to have players come out, show their skills. We have been investing a lot into making the Pavilion Clubhouse our new tournament grounds. So I'm very excited about that as a prospect going forward. We're going to be able to make a lot out of that room as a means of production, content creation, and community building. Um, Outside of that, I'm hoping maybe to do something that is semi-regular, that's not as chill as live viewing co-streaming. Maybe starting up stuff like UCLA Esport patch rundowns. Of course, those I would prefer to have people on, but it does not need to be. And I would just be looking forward to being able to just broaden the community in that sense by having some sort of regular content people can expect instead of maybe more sporadic content as we've come accustomed with the scheduling we've had to deal with during COVID. Of course, in that regard, if I want to produce as much as I am saying, I'm going to have to pick up my own job, and I'm going to have to learn how to do a lot of the heavy lifting that my peers and coworkers and colleagues have been putting out there with the editing side and the social media side. And I understand that's going to be a lot to get into, but I'm just looking forward to having that be possibly a reality for me where I can maybe solo some content and not have to rely on others. In that case, that means other people don't have to be burdened by my own work. And I think that'll also help out in the future, in the long term. Besides that, also one thing I would like to bring up is that I'm planning on trying to facilitate some sense of like a position of what I am doing, so that for future years of students that they can continue on what I'm doing. Of course, that is something that a lot of us here at UCLA Esports have been pretty concerned about. Is one of us who's particularly ambitious puts in a lot of work, how do we keep it so that that work doesn't just get hidden as future years don't put any work out because you have no system in place for people to keep carrying out. So I'm hoping to find actually some future on air talent, some people who are looking to do league content, to look to do anything with the players, community build. Think people that are very high on the game, that are able to do more analytical content, like I've been suggesting with the patch rundowns and the co-streams, live stream, or the co-streams and live viewing. I'm really hoping to see if we can sort of create systems as we are as a team trying to do this year and probably the next years, is just create a system that we can keep the UCLA Esports family going so that there's no more stops, there's no more hitches in the road. It's just going to be a constant stream of content. Of course, that requires us to do a lot of outreach to make sure people know about us, and I'm looking forward to trying to help out on the social media side of as well. Over the summer, I'll attempt to be a bit more ambitious on regular content through the streaming so that we can have more content to put out on our social media platforms. And that way we can also try to get a wider reaching audience. All of these things I think are very important to the longevity of our UCLA Esports content and to our program as something that people might know. Especially since esports is not necessarily as relatively new as many people are used to considering it. Esports has been almost a 3-decade thing now. So hopefully, with the lowering of stigmas and the normalization of it, we shouldn't have too many more barriers of entry into getting people involved and invested with this program. We should hopefully see more people in general across the country getting esport-based scholarships for tournaments, and hopefully we can see that kind of growth. That's something I'd be very excited to hear about and to see in the future. And if we are able to get that kind of thing, I would just hope that we do have the esports content program to back it up. We don't want to have these players playing and no one knowing about it. I mean, the one of the biggest parts of any major sport team is the crowd. Can you really expect the same kind of environment, the same kind of feel of a player when they're playing alone in their apartment room versus if they're playing on a stadium floor with hundreds or however many fans cheering? That's a really big difference in environment and feel and how people are going to enjoy what they're doing. And I think especially when it comes to enjoyment, where uh, esports in general is a very draining mentally and fatiguing activity, you really need to have these more so cheering up mental factors such as increased community. I feel like that'd be a really good thing in the future if we can start seeing, if we can start moving out into bigger locations with more audience, with more people cheering on these really talented students here playing different games. I think that's like my big hope for the future. And so, as this is the last episode of TLG Talks, and from now on, ITLG will not be doing this podcast series. Maybe it'll be revitalized as something else down the line. I doubt it. I'm kind of pretty keen on keeping this as a first project only thing. Maybe if I reboot it, it would be under a different name or it would be different concept. But I'm really looking forward to see what the future has in store for me, what it has in store for my peers, and all of the rest of us at UCLA Esports. And I hope you've enjoyed our episodes so far. We put a lot of effort into them, not just me, but all those who worked around me. And I'm really proud of my work and their work as well. So please keep watching, keep up with UCLA Esports, And we'll see you whenever our next endeavors are out. Thanks for watching. Have a nice summer.